Okay, so today we're here to talk about the Stockholm winter and some of the trends that have happened as of the Stockholm regional. So let's get started. So first off, Zamazenta and Latios won the Stockholm Regional. Now, why is this very interesting? Well, first of all, Zamazenta was a Pokemon that a lot of people did not have hope for coming into Revelation G, but it's outperformed everyone's expectations. Body Press is just insanely good, even without putting an iron defense, and just it pairs really well into like a lot of the really good defensive cores like Terapagos. It can one shot it with body press once its guard is broken. It can do really well into stuff like Koridon with Clear Amulet because it can set up Iron Defense in front of it and Terra Water. There's a lot of different things you can do with Zamazenta, and it also gets some really good utility options like Wide Guard, which helped Michael Kelch to win the tournament, for example, because he said it was really good into Groudon and Kyogre cores and Calyrex, Shadow, and Ice cores. Now, the interesting thing is, if you really notice the top eight, there's only two Incineroars in top eight. Now, for a Pokemon that's been overhated so much and that people are saying it's broken the meta, blah, 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 it's also at 60% usage in day one, and I think a bit higher in day two. It's really interesting to see that only two of the top eight teams have an Incineroar, and two Rillabooms, and two Iron Hands. And I don't think even both these Iron Hands have Fake Out. So a lot of team diversity actually in this top eight. Not too many shared Pokemon, and a lot of just different interesting picks. And two teams which are very similar are Matt's team and Frederick's team, which both have that Miraidon, Farigiraf, and Ursaluna Iron Hands core, which are both kind of similar. But aside from that, I mean, we see quite a bit of diversity. I guess Marco and Lorenzo both have the same team, but I know that there's I think slight differences between them as well. Um, I really like Goldengo, and I think this tournament has proved why Goldengo is still good. Good as gold, just an insane ability. Being able to block Spore is huge. Amoonguss, even though Miraidon is very well used, Amoonguss is still really good. Like one, two, three Amoonguss. Amoonguss is probably right now one of the best non-restricted Pokemon out there. So very interesting to see. And we can see once again that Terapagos has been in the top eight, but just barely missed out on the top cut. And once again, I think we see the choice specs. Yeah, choice specs set now with Chi-Yu. Paired with Chi-Yu, choice specs Terapagos is really popular because you get that Tailwind up, and now you have Terra Starstorm beside Chi-Yu. Chi-Yu can click Protect. You can click Terra Stellar Starstorm and just clean through teams that way. Now, the thing is, I want to talk about this Zamazenta team. Zamazenta plus Latios. Now, why do I think that this team is so popular? Well, the first thing you have to notice is that these two have a very good defensive core. Latios is weak to Dark and Fairy, and Zamazenta resists Dark and is neutral to Fairy. That's a really popular reason. And also, you have to remember that Zamazenta is weak to ground, and Latios naturally has that levitate. So, for example, you could have Zamazenta switch into a ground move, like Latios. You can switch in Latios if Zamazenta is about to get hit by a ground move. So that really good defensive core and defensive synergy is there, and we saw during the set that it was running that Soldew item, and Soldew is really good because a lot of Pokemon like Kyogre, for example, or Urshifu like to run Mystic Water, and Mystic Water is already very broken, having 1.2 times power on one of the stabs. Now imagine Soldew, you get 1.2 times power on both of your stabs, and Latios has some really broken moves on it. It's got Draco Meteor, which obviously we know is insanely powerful, and of course it's got Luster Purge, which is just an insanely broken move as well. Like imagine Earth Power, but stronger and with a 50% chance to lower the target's special defense instead of like a 10 or 20% chance. Like Earth Power is how much percent chance? Earth Power. Okay, wait. Let me put on Gastrodon, and Earth Power. Yeah, Earth Power is a 10% chance to lower special defense by one, and that's already scary. Now imagine a 50% chance to lower a special defense by one. And since it's Soldu, you're not locked into Draco Meteor if you go for Draco Meteor. So you could, for example, hit somebody with Luster Purge, like AV Rillaboom, and then hit it with the Draco Meteor, and now suddenly that Rillaboom is really, really, really weak to that Draco Meteor. And just that core is really good. And of course, he had the Icy Wind on there for speed control. Latios is not as fast as something like Fluttermane, for example. But the thing you have to understand in restrictor formats is Latios has pretty decent bulk. I mean, 110, 80, 80 is nothing to scoff at. And right now, Fairy is just not as good of a type in the meta. And why is that? Well, that's Zamazenta. Because Zamazenta has Body Press, but it's also got Iron Head. It's also got Heavy Slam. And unlike other Pokemon like Iron Hands, for example, Iron Hands, uh, which got Heavy Slam as well, right? Iron Hands also learns Heavy Slam, or Metagross also learns Heavy Slam, right? Those are other two popular Heavy Slam users. Look at the speed, 70 speed, 50 speed, right? So, and now let's look at Zamazenta's speed for a second, okay? 138 speed. That's faster than Fluttermane if you play it right, right? So you get that Zamazenta out there, you have the Heavy Slam, and not only do you threaten the Fluttermanes out there, you threaten the Terra Fairies out there. That means you threaten the Terra Fairy Calyrex Shadows that are out there, right? Any Terra Fairy Amoonguss, which sometimes run around, are out there. Like, you threaten those really well, right? And Heavy Slam is just a very consistent move in general because there's not that many people, there's not that many Pokemon that are heavier than Zamazenta. And those that are, well, you got Latios right there. And in a meta where Fluttermane is below 20%, 7% usage, Latios just comes out and it's just the better option right now because it's fast enough to outspeed some of the mons you wanted to outspeed, like those Ogre Pawns, those Mian Shaos, those Urshifus, while also having a lot of utility to it, right? With the Draco Meteor, with the Luster Purge, with the Icy Wind, right? Now, and I think I'm pretty sure it ran the Steel Terra. Let me see if I am correct here. Yes, Steel Terra is really, really good as well. Gets around that ice weakness, gets around some of the other weaknesses that Latios has, right? Like the dragon weakness. So, like, there's a lot of things you can do with that. And if you're afraid of fire, well, you've got Pelipper right there. So, what's interesting about this team is that it had two wide guard mons. And when Michael was on stream and he explained why he was running Zamazenta with wide guard, he was explaining that it took way too long to get set up with something like Iron Defense. So he wanted the Zamazenta to be out there and have a bit more utility. And he's like, okay, I'm good enough of a player where I can make the most use of my boost and just start getting that damage down instead of having to set up and wait for like Calyrex or somebody else to destroy you. Why not just have that wide guard there, and now you have a better matchup into Miraidon, right? Because you could lead Zamazenta plus Latios, and now Latios does something like it terras, and now Zamazenta has the wide guard for discharge. It has the wide guard for a lot of other things as well, like Calyrex, Ice Rider's Glacial Lance. So, like, let's say you're up against a Glacial Lance. That's probably a better example, actually, because Miraidon's just going to Electro Drift into Latios. So, a better example is you have a Calyrex Ice Rider plus, I don't know, like Indeedee or something on the other side, right? They have Glacial Lance, high horsepower, for example. Like, let's just say, right? Now they would be able to click Glacial Lance for free in front of Zamazenta Latios. But since you have the wide guard, now they have to be afraid of stuff like the Draco Meteor going into them. And so that's stuff like that you have to consider, right? Same with Calyrex Shadow Rider, for example. Now with Calyrex Shadow Rider, you can click wide guard, click Icy Wind. Now Zamazenta is faster in the next turn. You can click Heavy Slam, another Icy Wind. You see there's a lot of cycling going on here. And actually, this Rillaboom does not even have Fake Out. It's just full offensive Rillaboom. So Wood Hammer, Grassy Glide, high horsepower, and U-turn. And you saw this doing so much work against even stuff like Maridon. I think like Maridon was gonna get two shot. I think from Terra Grass like Grassy Glide, and that's Maridon. That's like a natural resist, and its defenses are actually pretty good as well, right? Like its defenses are like 100 defense, 100 HP, and I think like Woodhammer or Grassy Glide was about to one shot it. Never forget about high horsepower as well. High horsepower is really good. So you look at this team and you see one, two, three Miraidon weaknesses, and you're like, how did this team get out there and do so well? Well, you've got and the other thing is Latios is the only form of speed control. We don't have Tailwind on Pelipper, so like Michael had to play very well against the Miraidon teams just to get here. Oh wait, actually no, we have Tailwind. Tailwind on Moltres Galar. Okay, so Tailwind on Moltres Galar was the other option as well, and we didn't see that in actually any of the stream matches. But I'm curious to see how it was used. But we already know Fiery Wrath and Foul Play are really good moves, and I think that Michael probably used the Foul Play to counter some of the Calyrex Ice teams out there, and to counter maybe an Urshifu, to counter all the other like physical attackers out there, for example, like opposing Rillaboom and stuff. And Tailwind off obviously very very nice. I think Michael, like personally, looking at this team, as like a mid-level player, it's very hard to see certain parts of it being successful. But I think Michael, as like a world's caliber competitor, he's just very good at finding out the key parts of the meta and playing very well into the meta. So that's why I think this Terra Dark Moltres Galar, like even though to me it looks like I can't tell what's up with it, it's just a very good call into the meta because like dark type moves are very very strong and there's not many resists to dark. Like there's the resists to dark are dark itself, which is like the which is like duh obviously like dark is a resist to dark and steel no longer resist dark. So what else really resists dark types? Like actually I think yeah, fighting and dark, those are the only resists to dark types, right? So having that dark Terra Fiery Wrath is just really good. If it's like an icy, you set up an icy wind, dark Terra Fiery Wrath into like something like I don't know, like Calyrex Shadow Rider is just gonna be like really insanely good. Oh wait, I just realized why this is good. Okay, so Moltres Galar is good because it's really good and it forces Calyrex Shadow Rider to Terra because you're Calyrex Shadow Rider, let's say, right, and you're running like Draining Kiss, Astral Barrage, for example. You see a Moltres Galar in front of you, and like, let's imagine he ran this with max bulk, right? And you're running it with a spread move and all that stuff, right? So now imagine you see this Moltres Galar and you've got this Chien Pow, right? So the Fire Wrath is definitely going to one shot you, and if it doesn't one shot you, it's going to make you flinch if it's under Tailwind. And you have to make sure you get the Tailwind, like prevent them from setting up Tailwind, because if they set up Tailwind, then they can put Zamazenta and Rillaboom in the back. So now I can kind of see like how that, like it's really good into some of the standard mons in the meta, right? And I mean, we see it. The seventh place team also has that same kind of restricted, and I think that this was the one which had these yeah. Did this have this? No, this one also had Terra Grass. But we saw Michael fight against another Zamazenta with like Terra Ghost, and I think Michael beat or wait, I think that was somebody else. But yeah, we saw him win the mirror basically against Donald for sure, and that was all decided by Latios speed ties. And there was other Zamazentas running around. I think Zamazenta was something like 23% usage or something. Like let me see, Zamazenta. Let's search you up on Twitter.com. Okay, yeah, it's 25% usage in day two. So Zamazenta was more popular than Calyrex Ice Rider, Calyrex Shadow Rider is in the fifth, and Miraidon and Terapagos. And if you guys watched my top five video for top five restricted mons, these are four of the five restricted mons. And Zamazenta is just like over here, like just like washes this, does okay into this, does pretty well into Calyrex Shadow Rider. Like I've seen it take Astral Barrage and take maybe like 30%, and that's an Astral Barrage from Calyrex Shadow, which has like a special attack, like just insane special attack, right? Calyrex Shadow Rider base 165 special attack, and only 30% Astral Barrage does to this, right? So Zamazenta is proving itself to be a very like I thought that like when I honestly I'm not gonna lie when I was going into Regulation G I thought Zamazenta was gonna be a gimmick Pokemon, but it's proved to be much more than a gimmick Pokemon, and I like that. I like being proven wrong and seeing more unique sets. Let's talk about the rest of the top eight actually before I forget. So okay, Chi-Yu plus Ogre Pawn Cornerstone plus Terapagos. Now the thing with Chi-Yu is I think Chi-Yu is one of the most slept on Pokemon, and it pairing with Terapagos is something I was thinking of randomly ahead. But this like Joji really implemented it well because now you got the speed control with Icy Wind, you got the speed control with Tailwind and Scary Face, and you've got Heat Wave, and you've got like Terra Starstorm, Dark Pulse, Earth Power, Hyper Beam. Like you have some really really good options here, and I think that Terra Shift and Terra Stellar is really good with these types of teams because now you have like you can do Terra Starstorm raw, or you can do Terra Starstorm after setting up the Terra Stellar. So there's different things you can do to help keep that Terapagos alive, for example, like with Pollen Puffs and switching in and out, I guess, and with Follow Me. And then once that Terapagos is set up, it just destroys things with like Terra Starstorm. Like I think I've seen it like KO an Incineroar like after like a bit of chip damage, and that's like not even the Stellar Terra. Like just like without Terra, I've seen it KO. So Terapagos obviously being really really good in the meta. I think I'm gonna make a full video on Terapagos eventually. Calyrex, okay, so Marco Silva with the Golden Gill. Honestly, if I was gonna pick up a team for the tournament and I didn't know what to pick up, I'd probably pick up this team because this team is just really good stuffs balance, and I really like it. So you've got the Incineroar with the standard fake out, knockoff, parting shot. The taunt is really interesting. I think taunt is interesting because you can prevent Trick Room and setup, and it's really good into other Incineroar who want a parting shot out. But it's also really good into like stuff like Amoonguss. So you notice that the Incineroar does not have safety goggles. So now you have Taunt to shut down that Amoonguss, for example. Or like let's say that they want to switch in their Chi-Yu and their Chi-Yu is going to protect. Well, now you taunt into that slot, you protect. Now they can't protect, right? Um, Golden Go is really, really, really broken. Like Terra Normal is there to deal with Calyrex Shadow, which is the only thing keeping Golden Go back. But honestly, without Heatran in the meta, without Chi-Yu in the meta, like what are you gonna have really to stop this creature, man? What are you gonna have to stop Golden Go? Cause like let's look at some of these mons, okay? Like Miraidon's there, Ursaluna's there, Iron Hands is there, right? Like this team is good into Golden Go, but you notice that Marco placed above it. So the thing is, once you have your Trick Room mode, so the thing Golden Go works really well in Trick Room and it works well against Trick Room. So I've used a Golden Go team with Kyogre before in Trick Room, and the thing with Golden Go is, let's say you're facing a Calyrex Shadow Rider, right? Now what happens is Calyrex Shadow Rider like to run with Tailwind a lot, so you put on like a Tornadus or a Whimsicott, and then you're faster, or you put on Icy Wind with Flutter Mane, right? And that's how they like to set up and beat you, right? Now imagine this, right? A lot of them like to run Terra Fairy, and they're naturally weak to Ghost. What types does Golden Go have? You've got Steel, you've got Ghost, right? And you've got Leftovers and Nasty Plot, right? So actually, even though Calyrex Shadow naturally beats you, what you can do is you can do something like lead Calyrex Ice plus Urshifu, threaten the Terra Water, right? Trick Room, break the Sash with Wicked Blow, maybe let it go down, and then next two turns, you have Calyrex Ice beside Golden Go versus like their Calyrex Shadow Rider, and they just lose. Because what the hell is like they can't put you to sleep, they can't misdirect Make It Rain, and Make It Rain plus Glacial Lance is always just gonna pick up that Shadow Rider. So that's why I think Golden Go is just really really good. And like yeah, you have resists, like you have stuff like Miraidon that resists, but after like +3 Shadow Ball is just gonna deal so much damage into Miraidon after it sets up like one or two nasty plots, and you've got Amoonguss with Pollen Puff and Redirection. and you've got like Incineroar with knockoff and parting shot like under Trick Room. Like there's some really interesting things you can do, and like obviously with Marco being a really high player, I'm pretty sure that Marco can get a lot more of these trick rooms set up than your average like mid or low level player. And once you have that set up, it's like, what are you gonna do against Goldingo? Goldingo, like you need an answer to this mon still in this meta. And if I was gonna make like a top five non-restricted like mons, which I might, I'll put him on there as well. Okay, no, just okay. I'll go through these two teams kind of the same way, and then I'll analyze the rest. Okay, so Maridon's still good. Um, Now this time somebody decided to bring. Okay, so Matt Maynard decided to bring it with Electric Seed, still having the foul play, the Psychic now instead of having a Terra Blast ground, but still having the ground Terra type. Um, so this is like an adapted core with fake out on Iron Hands and the classic Assault Vest. I forgot what booster it was probably some defensive booster. And Ice Punch is just really good because it beats Miraidon's. It beats one of Miraidon's best counters, which is Landorus, right? And it's also good into opposing Miraidon because now you have Iron Hands just sitting there with Assault Vest. We already know how bulky Iron Hands is, and if you set up a trick room, for example, like you can do this. You can set up trick room with Farigiraf, have the Terra ground into opposing Iron Hands. I mean, in opposing Miraidon, and now you've got Ice Punch, Iron Hands in the back, and I'm pretty sure an Ice Punch will do like 50% to it, or something like that, right? And you've got Ursaluna Blood Moon in the back. So this team is once again made to do good, not just into other teams, but into opposing Miraidon teams. So Miraidon teams love running counters into other Miraidon teams. This team, okay, so this is an adapted core again with Choice Scarf Chiyu. So this is a lot more offensive. You've got the Terra Electric, you've got the Terra Ground on Chiyu, so you can spam Heat Wave and Discharge together. Terra Fairy this time on Farigiraf with Psyshock, probably for like some of the other Iron Hands, for example. So this team could probably do well into the opposing AV Iron Hands and close combat. Terra Fire to prevent the burn. Okay, yeah, this team is really offensive with a little bit of defensive options. Like the Trick Room, I think is not going to go up as much because you've got Ursaluna, but I'm pretty sure this Ursaluna and this Iron Hands are pretty fast. Because if you've got Tailwind plus Chi-Yu, Choice Scarf Chi-Yu plus Miraidon, I'm pretty sure these two are like going to be a little bit faster than usual. But that's okay because you can run with 52 speed and 50 speed. Now you can outspeed certain Urshifu forms and just kill them with Blood Moon or kill them with like Wild Charge, for example. Um, so I think that that's why, like, if you don't have a good counter into Chi-Yu plus Miraidon, if you don't have a good counter into like setup Tornadus plus Ursaluna Blood Moon and Chi-Yu in the back, it's gonna be really hard, and this team's just gonna sweep through you. Now let me just quickly go through the rest. Nils, I think, already won a regional. Um, say kind of similar to the last team, not exactly. You have the Trick Room, you have the Tailwind, so I'm pretty sure that this Regidrago has some speed investment. Same with the Urshifu Rapid Strike. Um, Now the thing with Regidrago is it's gotten buffed a lot because now the two main fast attackers are like Zamazenta and Calyrex Shadow. Like Fluttermane was there before, and what people would used to do is just run Fluttermane, and now that's your Regidrago counter. But since Fluttermane has dropped in usage, I think Regidrago is going to rise in usage because this thing naturally resists Thunderclap, for example, and it has Dragon Energy. And a boosted Dragon Energy with Helping Hand, like let's say you have Trick Room set up with Helping Hand if it's a slow Regidrago, or if you have like Whimsicott in the front, you set up a Tailwind, right? And then you bring in Regidrago in the back. Terra Dragon Energy will just rip through entire teams, and it's just very hard to get rid of it. And with the Life Orb boost too, it's just like you got Dragon Pulse, you got Draco Meteor. Like this is like all in on Dragon moves, and I think that can really work because if you look at this top eight, there's zero Flutter Mains in the top eight. So like that Dragon Energy will rip the actually wait, there's one Flutter Mane. There's a singular Flutter Mane top eight. I never thought I would see the day on there's a singular Flutter Mane top eight. But yeah, like that Dragon Energy is gonna rip through pretty much everything that's like not Golden Go. Like it'll rip through Amoonguss, it'll rip through Incineroar. non-terra Raging Bolt. Like even like this one's a Terra Electric Raging Bolt, but it'll rip through it, right? So that's why I think that Regidrago is a really good call. So even seeing a pattern of just these really offensive teams with Miraidon or Chi and Terapagos, like really good hyper offense, and that's really common in the start of the meta. But I think as we move closer like into the meta, we're gonna see a lot more counterbalanced teams. Okay, last thing we'll go over is Lorenzo's team. And I think Lorenzo's team is very, very similar, or if not the exact same. Yeah, it's like the same as Marco's team. Once again, like yeah, like that the Urshifu Dark is really good. Having that Calyrex, setting up that Trick Room is really good. So yeah, those that's why I think those teams are really, really good. Let's look a little bit at some of the other teams. Okay, so Aurelian Sula. Now we see more Incineroar here in like the rest of Top Cut for sure. But it's really interesting because like there's like two Incineroar in top eight, but the rest of Top Cut is definitely a lot of Amoonguss, a lot of Incineroar. Raging Bolt was at 50% usage, but I can tell why. It's just I think Raging Bolt is just such a broken Pokemon. Ceruledge, wait, am I reading that right? Yes, Ceruledge got ninth. That is crazy. Bitter Terra Bug, Bitter Blade. Okay, that's actually kind of nuts. That's kind of nuts. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna have to think. I'm gonna have to like. I don't know if I have enough time in this video, but I'm gonna have to definitely think about next video what I can put. Ting Lu. Honestly, I was surprised. I thought for sure we'd see Ting Lu, and Ting Lu would be a counter to Miraidon. But I guess like other people found better counters to Miraidon, and I've played against the Miraidon team that won Indianapolis on ladder before. Like let's see, if I can find it. I have replays like this. Like I've played against this team, and definitely like there's ways to beat it. There's ways to beat Miraidon. Like if you have redirection with Ogerpon and then you set up a Tailwind or something or a Trick Room and you play really well, you can like beat out Miraidon. Like you have to play very, very well to play Miraidon balanced or Miraidon offense team. Like it's not just a free win anymore, especially because people are prepared for it. And I wonder if Zamazenta is going to go the same way, or if Zamazenta is going to be a Pokemon that's just really good balance that happened to win because the player was good. So that's something else we have to consider, right? So yeah, like I mean, Koraidon is there. Koraidon and Grimmsnarl is really interesting. Incineroarization. This is a standard six right here. Guillermo Castelli. I'm surprised Guillermo only got 22nd. I'm not gonna lie. Victor Medina got 15th. I'm also surprised as that. Like those are two. Aurelian Sula ninth. Like this was a really stacked tournament. So that's why it makes it even more impressive that like Michael was able to win with an off meta team. So very 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 much kudos to him, and I'm really excited to see like all the stuff he does in the future. So yeah, yeah, I think that's honestly I have more to say, but I want to put more of that into my next video because I just kind of wanted to discuss Zamazenta, but I went around rambling for a while. But I hope you guys really liked the video, and I'm really excited to make more videos for you guys. So yeah, I'll see you again in the future. Thanks, bye.